I've been saying it for years now. Gaming is changing. We're going through this monumental shift in gaming, and it looks like PlayStation agrees with me. And let me tell you where PlayStation agrees with me on. They see it too. Xbox is ahead of the curve. Xbox is pushing the envelope. Xbox is saying, okay, here's this shift. This technology exists that never before exists that can revolutionize gaming. And not gaming as in like, oh, we'll see games that we've never seen before. I mean, that may come in the future as well. But revolutionize it as far as how we consume our games. Gone are the days, and soon, they'll be further in the distance here. Gone are the days where we buy individual games. Subscription gaming is the future, in the same way that gone are the days that we go to Black Friday and we pick up all of the cheap on sale DVDs and Blu-rays for our individual movies. Nope. We subscribe to Netflix. We subscribe to Amazon Prime. We subscribe to Paramount Plus and HBO Max or Hulu or whatever, wherever your shows are or your movies are that you want to watch. We rent them online digitally. Gone are the days of going to the store to purchase those items. It's the exact same with gaming. I think the first big shift in gaming in my lifetime happened with Steam. Steam was the first all digital marketplace. Sales, crazy sales that never before seen. Didn't have to go to the store. All of a sudden I could just purchase these on my PC through this application. And I think Xbox, this is shift number 2, Game Pass, and Game Pass going through it. And PlayStation had some leaked documents, or not PlayStation, rather Insomniac. There was a leak at Insomniac. A part of that leak, Insomniac to Spider-Man, a part of that leak was a PowerPoint presentation from PlayStation talking about Xbox and talking about how Xbox could leapfrog them with the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Now, this is the early days of the Activision, it looks like by the dates of the Activision Blizzard acquisition, but they say what I've been saying. They say they confirm that Microsoft's strategy is correct. And this, you can see why PlayStation vehemently opposed all of a sudden the Activision Blizzard acquisition, and it's because of this document. Let's go through it. This is a news article over at windowscentral.com by Jez Gordon, who is one of my favorite journalists in the gaming space at the moment. I think he is the most well-reasoned. I think he's one of the most well-thought-out. I think he's an excellent writer. So go check him out. Go follow him on Twitter. And he covers Xbox. He does the podcast with Randall Thor and just does a fantastic job. But let's go through his article here where he talks about this, and we'll just point out a few. And then I wrote down some questions that we should discuss. Like, what does this mean for the future of gaming here? What does this mean for Xbox? Will Xbox actually overtake PlayStation here in the gaming space, in the console space? I think they will. Hint. I think they will. I mean, you're a subscriber to that channel because you probably think they will too. Let's go through this. So he goes through, he talks about the leaked documents, and here's part of the PowerPoint presentation right here that was leaked. So ATVI is the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Microsoft is building a mobile gaming store to compete with Apple and Google. Now, this is key right here if you look at that second bullet point, because Phil Spencer said in the past, and this was years ago, this was before the Activision Blizzard acquisition, that they don't view PlayStation or Nintendo as their rivals. They view Apple and Google, which is fascinating. And this understands that Sony now is seeing that as well. Xbox sees mobile gaming as the future. Mobile gaming is the future. Everybody's got it in their pocket as technology increases and expands and enables us to play top tier games anywhere we want, whenever we want. It makes sense why Microsoft is jumping in there. And it makes sense why Apple and Google, like why they're building a mobile gaming store to compete with Apple and Google, and why Microsoft sees them as more of their long-term, and Amazon I think was in that list as well, their long-term competitors over Sony. Keep in mind too, now this is going to sound crazy, but I lived through this. Sega was a thing. The Sega Dreamcast was the best system. And then it went away. And then Sega was just a publisher. Just because something is and has dominated does not mean that it will always be, particularly in the business world. You blink and businesses that dominated in an industry could be gone. If you look at, the top Fortune 500 companies, right? How many have lasted 10 years? How many have lasted 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, and beyond? And you see how true that statement is. So if you're not willing to change and adjust and stay on top of the market and evolve and push boundaries, you could go the way of these companies. You know, these companies that were at the top of their game at some point. It's what makes Nintendo such a formidable force. Nintendo constantly evolves to maintain a top spot and position in the space. Here's what else this PowerPoint says. You see, the Call of Duty threat, Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard could disrupt, this is a PlayStation PowerPoint, could disrupt and threaten console gaming and game subscription markets. They shift on the console, they shift from the PlayStation to Xbox with timing and in-game differential as the weapons. They have a subscription service. What's the Sony impact? It's a massive threat. Listen to this PowerPoint. It's a massive threat to PlayStation Plus. Day and date threat. So that means Xbox dropping games day one on their subscription service on Game Pass. Post-acquisition, Microsoft will put Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass day and date at launch. Thus, that's why they don't need to make it exclusive. That's why Phil Spencer was able to say, yeah, we'll keep these on PlayStation. Of course, Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation because who cares? It's $69 on PlayStation. You want to know what it is over on Xbox? $16.99 with Game Pass. And you also get all these other games with it. That's the draw. That's the selling point. And Sony recognizes it here in this and that threat for sure. Activision Blizzard, here's the leapfrog bullet point. Activision Blizzard provides incredible strategic value across live service games. They provide scale in mobile and PC storefront with Battle.net. Microsoft can supply bullet points under the leapfrog. This is on the under leapfrog banner here. Microsoft can supply multi-game subscriptions. Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Sony's pillars, let me say that, are already dated and behind the competition. Sony's impact, we need to expand. Sony needs to expand. And I think that's why they went out and got Destiny. They see live as service as this huge draw. So you ask yourself, well, so wait a minute. If Sony's dated, why? They're still crushing it. Yes. Absolutely. They're crushing it now. But every decisions made now affect result 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 3 years from now, 2 years from now. And this PowerPoint shows that PlayStation sees the writing on the wall. That yes, they're dominating right now because of all the work they've put in the last 10 years, but they can quickly be leapfrog, and Sony's dated. And what is their dated model? The dated model is selling and focusing on console sales via top-tier AAA titles. And you say to yourself, well, that's not dated if they're still crushing it. It's dated because 5 years from now, that won't matter. It's why Game Pass, Microsoft is not necessarily concerned or less concerned, I would say, not that they're not necessarily, but the concern is diminished on Game Pass about having top-tier games to sell your Game Pass. What really sells your Game Pass, or what helps to sell your Game Pass, is also variety. So they can focus on variety. They don't have to always focus on AAA titles dropping as incentives to come into Game Pass. Variety is the key there. Very interesting. Then there's a bullet point here. Elusive perfect game subscription. Premium content. This is them talking, I think, about how to make a game subscription pass that competes. Premium content. Unified mobile PC and console experience does not exist right now on PlayStation. It is on its way of existing on Xbox, and that's only going to improve. Sony Impact premium sales model is the central approach. Okay, so that's one of the slides from the PowerPoint here. It has been confirmed that this PowerPoint is real from this leak. Let's see some of the points that let's see what Justice Gordon has to say. Elsewhere in the documents, Sony details how difficult it's getting to actually get a return on investment for AAA games. That's something that Phil Spencer talked about. He talked about it used to be that these big publishers had access to store shelf space at the big box stores, and that's how you had to go through them. Now, AAA games is what sets them apart. Nobody can outspend them. Nobody can provide the quality of content at a AAA thing. The problem with AAA games is there's a AAA price, and Phil Spencer talked about, if you remember, how Game Pass solves that problem for AAA studios and allows them to take risks again. Because you don't always have to have the winner in a Game Pass subscription model. So Sony details how difficult it's getting to actually get a return on investment for AAA games, an issue that is plaguing the entire industry right now. Sony expresses how a $500 million game might not break even in the first year, which is upending how publishers are thinking about platforms like PC and mobile as they seek profitability and less risky investments. To that end, here is Sony's strategic pillars that they talk about, where they are going. So they have an IP powerhouse, scalable IP at our core, and they absolutely have that. I would say this is very accurate. They absolutely have that. God of War. They've got Spider-Man. They've got Last of Us. They've got tons and tons of quality titles. Live services, diversify our business model and portfolio mix. That's why Destiny is there with them, and I think we're going to see more from PlayStation. Multi-platform, and this is where PlayStation, I think, is lacking at the moment, but looks like they recognize that they need to go there. Multi-platform, extend onto PC and mobile. They've slowly started to extend on PC and mobile. They're not day one. They need to be day one, for sure. The gaming industry is completely changing, guys. That's just it. PlayStation recognizes and sees that change and sees it from a few years ago. Sony is still, just Gordon continues, Sony is still the second biggest gaming company by revenue despite Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, owing to its near total global dominance of the console hardware market. Talking about PlayStation's dominance there. Microsoft also correctly predicted the end of mobile walled garden ecosystems, with Apple and Google gradually being forced by regulators to open up their storefronts to competitors. In that universe, Microsoft may decide to build its own mobile gaming store, offering more favorable terms to third-party developers on top of its own offerings. It will be very interesting. I mean, Game Pass, they already have the Game Pass Marketplace. You do have PC storefront there. They are very closely working with Steam as well on stuff like that. So they're ahead of the game, especially on the PC side, I think, but also on the mobile side now with Activision Blizzard acquisition as well. Sony may have firmly identified that Microsoft is far better positioned to diversify in this evolving gaming landscape, even if its position in console gaming remains incredibly dominant. This is talking about Sony's dominant in that. Sony's games command a level of quality and desirability that continues to elude Xbox, although Microsoft's slate of upcoming Xbox games looks incredibly strong for 2024 and beyond. Just Gordon says, real slides or not, the industry is definitely shifting. It is. You can see it happening. We're living through it. I, for one, am very, very excited. Very, very excited about it. I think we're only going to benefit. And these slides, by the way, prove that we're going to benefit. So PlayStation right now, console, you want to play a PlayStation game, you got to get on console. Look at where they're going. They also now are forced to go multi-platform, that you can play anywhere you want, whenever you want. That's going to be the norm. That benefits us as gamers. 100% benefits us as gamers. He closes out, either way, Microsoft Gaming is pulling more revenue than it ever has and is expanding across every gaming pillar at an exponential rate. With Sony's strength in gaming IP, hardware prowess, and retail ubiquity, that's a good sentence, Jez, PlayStation is sure to remain a fierce competitor moving forward. Yeah, I mean, it's not over anytime soon, but the fact that they recognized and they saw that gaming is shifting speaks volumes. If there was a slide in here where they were saying, yeah, look, here's what Xbox is doing, we're not worried about it because blah, 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 blah. That would be one thing. And then Xbox is trying to prove them wrong. Microsoft is trying to prove them wrong. That's not what they're saying. When your competitors look at you and say, damn, you're doing something right. And it shows that you're accurately assessing the marketplace. That's key, in my opinion. Let's get to some questions here. These are some questions that I wrote down. Could Microsoft's strategy with Xbox and Activision Blizzard change the future of gaming? And if so, how? I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we've been talking about here this entire time, that cross-console gaming, cross-platform gaming, cloud gaming, mobile gaming, that's the future. Subscription-based gaming. Them acquiring Activision Blizzard to include them in Game Pass while not excluding them from third-party platforms only benefits Xbox full circle. You buy it on PlayStation, Xbox wins. You pick up Game Pass, Xbox wins. That's hard to beat. Think about Minecraft, guys. That's exactly what Minecraft is. What does Sony's leaked assessment say about the state of competition and innovation in the gaming industry? It says that Microsoft is viewing it correctly. It says that we indeed are in a shift in gaming and that it's going to change. The next 5 years are going to look completely different than the last 5 years. The end. Full stop. Last question. How might the gaming community's preferences and expectations shift in response to these emerging industry dynamics? In the same way, here's how it's shifted in my lifetime with respect to movies. And I think we'll see it similarly in gaming. My expectation now, for instance, here we go. Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld. I own the entire box set of DVDs. It cost me a lot of money to get back in the day. Love it. My favorite show. The other day, I was like, okay, it's time for me to go through Seinfeld again. It's on my routine. The other day, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to get up and have to put this in my Xbox. I have my Xbox upstairs. It has a Blu-ray player. I don't want to have to get up and put in each individual disc. Let me go to Hulu. Let me go to Hulu so I can stream this. That's exactly gaming. That's a prime example of what will happen with gaming. It's so convenient. It's so convenient to just be able to open up Game Pass and say, what's new in Game Pass? Ooh, I'm going to try this game out. Ooh, what is this? Yes. What's not even what's new. Okay, what have I not tried out yet? Ooh, yeah, I'm feeling like this. Let's check it out. That's the change now. And there's less risk to you as a player. It's not costing you any extra money to try out a game you normally wouldn't try out. And then you may end up liking it. Your taste may expand. It's a no-risk proposition to experiment. It frees up gaming companies to take those risks. And so I think it shifts everything. I mean, I think we've already seen that shift to digital anyways, but it's more the consumer subscription-based shift here. For instance, I, for the most part, don't pay for games. Where I do pay for games, and I think this is actually smart, is yes, it is dropping day one on Game Pass, but if you want it 10 days early and it's a game you really want, you can pay, $30 for the game. I have done that twice now, for Forza and for Starfield. And I think that that's a smart business model, and I think that that's another expectation and shift in the gaming industry that we see on the consumer side. I'd love to know what you guys think here, though. Is Xbox going to crush PlayStation? Is Sony's secret fears here warranted? Or does Sony not have anything to worry about? Does Xbox still have a huge uphill battle here? Love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. This is our last video before the holidays, everybody. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I will probably have a few videos in between Christmas and New Year's. But then 2024 is coming. And I could not be more excited. We shifted this year to this type of content. We have done really well. Thank you guys for all of your support. If you like this, please share it with your friends. If you like hanging out with me, talking games, going over these articles, the way that I view it is this is a podcast where we're talking, we're hanging out. I would like to get to a point where this is always daily content. 2024 may be that year. I would also like to start live streaming and stuff, so stay tuned for that. Big plans in 2024. Regardless, appreciate you guys. Thank you for all your support. Have a good Christmas, and share this with your friends if you think they'd like it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.